So I've come to the conclusion, just a rotten piece of fruit. So I'll end up dying slowly, rotting away. See, I just want to be able to climb without a fall, to get out of this mazeland and run. Please strike me thunder, let me get closer to the light. Please strike me thunder, so I can be free.
Welcome back, everybody. We are here with the lovely F from our mod team, and she is going to be playing Dark Sector. F, take it away.
Amazing. So yes, this is Dark Sector. This is a bit of a nostalgia run for me. This is probably one of the first games I ever got for the Xbox 360 when I was a wee one. And it was the second game I tried to speedrun like 4 years ago when I first started speedrunning. And then I gave up almost immediately because it was way too hard. So this year I've learned a whole lot about speedrunning. I made it my goal to learn the run, get world record, and now we're here. So Dark Sector is a 2008 game from Digital Extremes, the folks who made Warframe. If we've got any Warframe heads in the chat, you're probably going to recognize a couple of the assets, some of the terms, but probably not much of the gameplay. Dark Sector is a very grimy third-person cover shooter, very reminiscent of other popular games that came out around the time, cough cough, Gears of War, and that's very heavily inspired in the gameplay. So I think we'll just get right into it. Time starts when I hit new game in 3, 2, 1, go! So, Dark Sector Any% is a fairly straightforward run. There's not a ton of like super special tech. We're just going to be pretty much running through most of the levels and most of the enemies. And when we can't run through the enemies, we're going to be rolling through the enemies. And if we can't roll or run through the enemies, we're going to be fighting them. So there are a couple sections where we do need to fight a set amount of enemies to be able to progress through the game, but other than that, we're going to try to avoid combat as much as we can. we're going to take this guy out real quick, because if we run past him, he's going to shoot us in the back of the head, and it's going to be really annoying. And now we get into the main meat and potatoes of the game, which is rolling. The roll doesn't provide like a perfect iframe, but it does significantly reduce the amount of damage you take, especially from these soldier enemies here. So anytime we need to run through like a big group of soldier enemies, which is going to be happening a lot, we're going to be rolling through them. So we're going to keep running here. We're going to hope and pray that these guys don't get close to the stairs here, because otherwise they might be annoying. We're going to take this guy out because he will kill us. And we're going to make our way to our first little mini boss, which is a helicopter. Oh, nice, I died. Alright. So we're going to try again. The enemies in this game aren't like super crazy, but they do, every once in a while they'll catch you, and you'll just take a little bit too much damage. So now we're in our mini boss fight, and thankfully the game is very friendly to us and gives us a whole bunch of rocket launchers to shoot at it. Now normally in a casual playthrough, this helicopter is going to want to try to disappear every time you hit it with a rocket launcher, but if we do it very quickly, we can just skip that whole thing. And blah blah blah, a whole bunch of stuff happened, and now we're injured. So we're going to be walking sideways through this section because basically we are injured and we're stumbling side to side. So what do you do when you're stumbling side to side? You walk sideways, so you stumble into the direction you're actually trying to go. So we're going to keep running sideways, or walking sideways, up into this building where we will grow our weapon, which is the glaive, which is kind of the unique weapon that this game came out with and it was like advertised with. So we're going to take this guy out, we're going to take this guy out, and then we're going to run through the rest of this section. So the glaive acts pretty much like a boomerang. And we make our way into our first like actual enemy requirement. So we've got 5 soldiers in this section that we need to kill in order to progress the story. Where is our 5th guy? There he is. And now we'll learn one of our first of many glaive abilities. So this one is steal, and it lets us pick up items at a distance by locking onto them with our glaive. So we are going to lock onto this C4 and use this to open the door here. And we're going to roll away real quick and count to 4. That's 3, 4, and move forward. Now, very important in this section, we've got an enemy who's going to walk through a hole in the wall in front of us to open the door in the room we're in. We need to take him out before he gets to the door, because that interrupts his animation and spawns him immediately at the door and saves us like 10 seconds in this run. We're going to run past this guy because he doesn't matter. And we're going to get into like an auto-scroller hell. So this whole section is like a 3-minute auto-scroller, so I'm just going to sit behind these boxes here, and we're going to chat a little bit about what Dark Sector is. So yeah, this came out in 2008. It was like PS3 360. You play as Hayden Tenno, who is a morally gray CIA cleanup man, and you're doing missions in a fictional communist country. And as you're doing your missions, you are unraveling the mystery of the technocyte virus. And when I say technocyte virus, you can just think of zombies. Basically, it turns you into a zombie, and I'll put a little asterisk there, because if you're infected by the technocyte virus, like we are currently, which is what happened when we got injured, you will over time grow new abilities and like become more powerful. So here's the second section of this auto-scroller, where our big friend came in. Now, like I said, this is just an auto-scroller. Nothing we do to this big guy is going to change the timer. So basically, well, okay. Hopefully he's going to run at us, because otherwise we're stuck in this warehouse. But essentially, you can think of him as like a very old, super infected zombie. Will you please, like, run into this building so that I can leave? Hello? There we go. Alright, so again, since it's an auto-scroller, we don't really need to worry about this guy, and we're gonna use our time to pick up that weapon upgrade, which is firepower, which makes our pistol just a tiny bit stronger. And we're also going to try to pick up this ammo over here, but we need to make sure that we are at least sort of paying attention to this guy, because these rocks that he's throwing will one-shot you if you're not careful. Alright, so we got about 30 seconds left in this auto-scroller. We're just going to keep an eye on our big friend here. At the end of this auto-scroller, he's going to run away, and we're going to be able to press a button over there to drop this bridge. Alright, he's going to be throwing stuff at us. Gonna want to make sure that he doesn't hit us, especially when he's that close, and he should be running away very shortly. There we go. There he goes, and I can finally hit this button to drop this bridge. And that is Chapter 2, essentially. So we gotta open this gate and drop down into Chapter 3. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna run over here and pick up some ammo. Now, thankfully for us, ammo is like, it's pretty abundant throughout the level, throughout the levels. We're gonna try to avoid at least like all of the ones that are too far away, but thankfully there's a bunch of stuff that's in our route that we can pick up to make sure our ammo stays at a healthy level. So now we've got another enemy section. We've got a bunch of enemies that I've routed out fairly well, so hopefully that we will be able to kill them before they actually kind of activate and are able to kill us. Oh no. Alright, we're getting a little risky here. We got one more guy in here. Did I get him? I did not. Now we're gonna play a little magic trick to make him spawn and learn our next ability, which is the power throw. So power throw is basically like a crit for your glaive. It's also used a lot to open things like gates and these big ammo chests. So we're gonna open this ammo chest real quick to pick up a little extra ammo. And we're gonna run into a next section. So this is a kind of a choke point. It's got a lot of enemies, and if you're not careful, they will absolutely kill you. Thankfully, we made it through a-okay. Now you're gonna see me accidentally ducking a lot in this game. It is a cover shooter, so that's kind of one of the unfortunate things, is that the sprint button and the roll button and also the cover button are all the same. So a lot of times when I'm trying to roll, I'll instead go into cover. So, alright, there's a lot of stuff going on. So I'm going to pick up another weapon upgrade, and you'll see that my glaive has an electric ability on it. So this is one of the main kind of puzzle mechanics of Dark Sector, are these like elemental puzzles, where you need to pick up some sort of element on your glaive to either open a door or burn something away that's blocking your path. And I forgot to mention it, but these are the zombies. at least the first iteration of them. And we're going to go into the zombie arena. So this section has one of the highest like required kill counts at around like 15 or 17 kills required to move on from this section. I'm not sure 100%. Oh, that's unfortunate. I did not mean to pick up the electricity. That's gonna cause me some issues moving forward, but hopefully we can still make it through. Now, typically what I like to do is I kill 10 of these guys, and then I pick up the electricity, and then use that to take care of the rest of them. Unfortunately, it looks like we're not going to be able to do that, so we have to take out these guys all manually. So we got, I think, one more round of folks spawning in. Hopefully this is the last one. There's one hidden right there, and once we take out our last one, our friends behind the door will finally open it. And we can hop into this elevator. Now, at the top of this elevator, we'll learn our next glaive ability, which is the coolest ability in the game. And unfortunately, we're not going to be using it a ton in this run because it is slow, but we're learning Aftertouch. So Aftertouch is an ability that allows you to control the glaive mid-air after you throw it. And it's very cool looking. And like as a youth, being able to control the glaive mid-air in slow motion and like rip people in half, crazy fun. Like I said though, we're able to control the glaive mid-air to adjust its direction, and we'll use that a couple times to do things like that, where there's a fence that's blocking a direct shot onto like a button, and so we'll briefly adjust our direction of our glaive so that we can actually hit what we're trying to get to. And that brings us to the end of Chapter 3. So first things first, we're gonna miss the door. So we're on our way to the black market, which is essentially the shop. It also lets us use the weapon upgrades that we picked up. So we're going to very quickly apply both of the firepower up upgrades that we got, and then we're going to run through all of these enemies right after we take out this guy in the window. He has a terrible habit of doing just a little bit too much damage for us to be able to sneak past these two. But since we took him out, we're pretty safe, and we can make our way into the schoolhouse. The main gimmick of the schoolhouse is we're going to learn we're going to run into fire as an element for the first time. So we're going to turn on this torch, which is in the middle of this courtyard. We're going to gently angle our glaive and set fire to the torch and burn down this black goo. This is all over the place. We're going to be seeing a lot of black goo. Why are you attacking me? I thought you were dead. So there's two things that the Technocyte virus does. It, one, turns you into a zombie, and two, it hates doorways. So we're going to make our way through this schoolhouse here. We're going to re-up our fire, and we're going to take care of this black goo, which is a little further in the run. We're going to open this door and burn down some more black goo. And we're going to take the shortest elevator ride known to man. And that's it. So we're just going to keep running through the schoolhouse here. We're going to take out these guys because he's standing in the doorway and he's going to be annoying. And now this is where that other black goo that we took out earlier was, and that saves us about like 5 to 10 seconds by just not having to sit and wait for it to burn away. Now we got a quick phone call before we move on. And now we've got a little bit of an auto-scroller here. So we're gonna come over here and trigger these enemies. And while they're doing their stuff, we are going to pick up some ammo. Once we've got all our ammo, we're gonna come up here and we're gonna hide behind this truck so that we don't take any more damage from these soldiers. And we're gonna wait very patiently for our giant friend to come down and break this barrier over here. There we go. So we're not gonna see him, but you're just gonna have to trust me that he's back there messing up the soldiers. The rest of the section is a lot of running. We're gonna run past a whole bunch of enemies here. There is one enemy we need to take care of a couple sections ahead, because he's on a turret and also in the mini boss arena that we are on our way to. But otherwise, we're just gonna run and roll our way past all of these guys. So we got a bunch of guys on our right here. None of them matter. None of them can do us enough damage for us to care about them. I'm gonna keep our way. I'm gonna reload real quick. And as we turn our corner, we're gonna take care of this guy on the turret as quickly as possible so that we don't have any issues in our next mini-boss. So just like the helicopter fight, the game is very friendly to us. It gives us a whole lot of rockets and rocket ammo. And we're gonna make our way over to this doorway, which once we are able to beat this mech, he's gonna explode into a big ball of fire, which we will use to open the door. So that should be all of them, and he's staggering, which means he's dead. So we're gonna toss our rocket launcher, grab some fire, burn down the door, and pick our rocket launcher back up because we need it to skip an environmental puzzle in the next section. So when we enter this room, I'm gonna run, and on our right here, there's a little bit of a gas leak, which we're gonna shoot our rocket at. Now, in this section, there is like a busted power panel through a door to the back of us. And typically you would need to use that to light the fire to progress through the section. But if you bring the rocket launcher from the boss arena in with you, you can just use that instead of wasting time to get the electricity. And we've got a bunch of more cutscenes here that we're just going to skip through. And now we're on our way to the church. So basically, we think that the big bad of the game is in the church trying to call all of these zombies. And we're going to roll past them so that they don't grab us. So we need to get to the church to try to stop him. There's a whole bunch of enemies here. None of them really matter, except, again, this guy up here on the turret. So once we take care of him, we can just run past all of the rest of these enemies without issue. Oh, I'm just going to do a couple more rolls to make sure nobody takes us out. And we're free. As we make our way to the church. First we need to stop by a graveyard, which we will get to. And there's a fun new environmental puzzle there, which I will get into. But first we have a little tutorial area, and this is basically foreshadowing for what we're about to do in the graveyard outside the church. So we're going to turn this lever to turn on the fire, and use that fire to burn away the goo. In the next section, we're going to be doing the same thing. So we are in this big graveyard. To our right is a doorway that's blocked by black goo. So we need to take this left path to go all the way into this building that was just in front of me. We're going to take care of these dogs because they will mess us up. And then we're going to keep running. There is our glorious valve, which we will turn to light the torch behind us. And now begins the, I call it the relay ray section. Oh, we're gonna get grabbed real quick. Where we need to take this fire and run it all the way back to the right side of that main area so that we can burn away the goo that's blocking our way. So we're gonna light that torch. We're gonna light the black goo. We're gonna take some time. We're gonna relight our fire so that we don't run out of fire before we get to the next torch, which should be just about here. We're gonna light that and keep on running. We're gonna get past this rock here, and we're gonna light this black goo, and we want to light that as far away as we possibly can so that we can limit the amount of time we spend here waiting for it to burn away. And we've just about made it. We are finally at the church, where we will take care of our big friend who we keep seeing. He is our first main enemy. We're going to open here. Now this boss has 2 phases. The first phase, he's going to be up on the rafters, and we're going to need to set him on fire because he has a flammable armor for some reason. And then once he hits the ground, we will do a quick time execute. But first, we're going to do as much damage to him as we possibly can before our time is up. Now, previously, we weren't sure if during this first phase, if the Colossus, this big guy, took any damage. And in fact, he does. He has 10,000 health, and during this first phase, he can take up to 7,500. So we are going to do our very best to make sure we do that 7,500 damage before the second phase starts. Because once we're in the second phase, he's free roaming around the floor of this church, and it becomes a little more difficult to keep track of him. So we got one more section here. We're gonna light him on fire. He's gonna fall at some point, and do our final execute. And now that he's on the ground, we're just gonna try to do as much damage as we possibly can to him. So we're gonna make sure to do our power throw with the fire glaive, and any time that the glaive is not in our hands, we're gonna be shooting the heck out of him. There we go. That was a little slower than it usually is. Sometimes you can get him in that first section before his armor regenerates, which would have been nice, but, you know, we take what we can get. So, sometime between beating that boss and jumping down here, we learn a new infection ability, which is this reflective shield, which is super helpful, and we're going to be using it a lot for the rest of the run to try to avoid any enemy fire, either from the soldiers or from the... I fucking missed the door. Nice. Alright. We're gonna dodge over to the side to try to get that zombie to run through the door, because otherwise he will block us in that hallway. And that's the end of Chapter 4. So, first things first, in Chapter 5, we need to open this electronic door over here, and wait patiently for it to open. And we're going to run in here, and then once this cutscene hits, we're going to immediately turn back around before the door closes and get the electricity. This allows us to skip the environmental puzzle in this next mini-boss section, which we would need to like blow up a car and wait a whole bunch of time. We can just bring the electricity from the previous room and not have to worry about all that. So we're going to hit him with some electricity, and we're going to beat the heck out of this guy who's in the mech here. Once we're in the mech, we are going to turn around as quickly as possible and blast down this door, and then immediately exit because we run faster than this mech, so we don't have to worry about it. And this will be the first good showcase of the power of our shield, where we have a ton of enemies up here on the road, and we're gonna quickly reset our checkpoint that we just hit to manipulate the enemy aggro, so that this next section is way easier to run past. And we're just going to be running a whole lot. The majority of the rest of the section is just running through this warehouse train yard section. So we're going to keep running down here, and we're going to learn a new glaive ability, which is Energy Pulse, which is essentially an elemental explosion. So anytime that we have an element on our glaive, we can press a button to make it explode and do a whole bunch of damage. Now, we don't care... Oh, could you get out of my way, please? Thank you. We don't care too much about the extra damage, but another thing that the Energy Pulse does for us is it extends the range of the element that we're holding, so we can use it to reach areas that we wouldn't otherwise be able to reach with our element just by making it explode. And we're just going to keep running. We've got a whole bunch of enemies here. We're just going to pop our shield real quick to make sure that we don't take too much damage, but we're just going to run past everybody because we have a helicopter to catch. We'll pop our shield once more because we got one guy over here who's super annoying. And we're going to wait for our helicopter. Now we're on a boat. So, technically lore-wise, we're here because we're chasing the big bad, and we think that he's brought some big enemy onto this boat, and we're going to try to stop him. Spoiler alert, it doesn't really go that well. That's okay. We're going to run to the other end of this boat, because we have another helicopter fight. And we need to get to the other end of the boat, because that's where they've hidden all the rockets. Oh, just like the Chapter 1 helicopter fight, we gotta hit this guy with 3 rockets. This helicopter is a little bit more tricky in that he has more places to hide, and he can also shoot rockets if we're not fast enough, but thankfully we took him out before he was able to shoot us with rockets. It's usually not too much of a big deal, we can just pop our shield and block all the rockets, but if we're not paying attention, and it's a really subtle when it tries to shoot at you, they will one-shot you, and you have to do the whole fight over again. So we're going to press this button, we're going to drop our rocket launcher, because we got more running to do. But first we got to turn around and pick up this weapon upgrade. And... uh-oh, a bunch of lore happened, and the boat's exploding, and we have to escape. So there is a series of environmental puzzles in this section. So first we need to shoot this exploding barrel, which you can barely see. We're gonna hope that this guy doesn't bother us too much. There we go. We're gonna shoot the water real quick to try to trigger the rest of the explosion. And we've got our bridge, which occurred because of the exploding barrel. Now the thing about these environmental puzzles is each room has its own electricity source, but usually it's kind of out of the way. So we want to make sure that we're taking the electricity from the previous room so that we don't have to waste too much time. Oh. Too much time finding the next electricity source, because especially for this room, it's all the way over there, and we would have to traverse this whole section full of zombies. So we're going to turn around real quick up here. We're going to pick up our final weapon upgrade, which is some extra slots, as we come into Chapter 6. Thankfully, there's a black market right here, which we will use to use those final weapon upgrades. And now our pistol is as powerful as it's going to be for the rest of the run. And also, we have new enemies. So you know how I was telling you about those zombies, which get more powerful over time? These are those slightly more powerful zombies. They, like the big Colossus, have a flammable armor on them, which makes them take a little bit less damage. We need to kill 5 people in this room, and there's our last one before these guys open the door for us. And that's going to be the theme for a lot of this level. There's a ton of kill X amount of enemies before moving on in this section. But first we've got a quick environmental puzzle where we need to bust open that pipe. And while that's doing its thing, we're going to pick up some extra ammo. Alright. Now we've got a bunch of enemies here. These guys are actually kind of annoying, so we do want to take all of them out. So we're going to do our best here. This should be our last one, and then we move on to the next section where we've got more enemies. So this is a section where we need to kill 6 enemies, and they're going to spawn in waves of 2. This first 2 is always pretty straightforward. Unfortunately, the second is a little more finicky. Sometimes one of them likes to just hang out on the rafters and not actually come out. Thankfully for us, we got the good RNG, and he came right down for us. So we're going to take out our last group in this section as I make my way towards the door, because once we take out that last enemy, they're going to burst down the door for us. And if I told you that there was another room filled with enemies, would you believe me? I sure hope so, because this one's got 10. So, we got these 2. I'm going to take them out real quick. Now, just like the other room, these guys will spawn in waves of 2. Some of them are a little more tricky to find and keep track of than others. This guy's right in front of us, and this guy loves to run away, so we will deal with him when we can. So how many is that? That should be 6. There's 7, his friend spawns down here, and so do our final 2 enemies. So we got that one, and we got that one, and that should be all of them. I'm pretty sure I decapitated him. And that causes these guys to spawn in and run at us as we move into another mini-boss. So as soon as we hit this checkpoint, we're going to reset, and hopefully that's going to cause those guys who just ran out behind us to not show up for this boss fight, because otherwise they come into this room with us and love to get in the way of us killing this mini-boss. The power suit is what I call him, and we're going to see him fairly often. His only purpose is for us to kill him to get electricity from his dead body, so that we can open a door somewhere else. So thank you very much for your service, sir. We're going to open this door and move right along into Chapter 7. Alright, I'm going to skip some cutscenes here. Now, this is my least favorite level. It's very long and very tricky. I've definitely gotten the time a little better on this one over time, but this was definitely a struggle for me when I was learning this run. Wow, you guys are just gonna stand right in my way, thanks. So usually you can just serpentine through these guys and not have to worry about them, but sometimes they will just like hang out. This level also introduces our new element, which is ice. Ice will also bust down the black goo, and it also freezes these enemies solid, which is a huge help, because they are very tricky to kill. This section is one of many sections in this level where there's a lot of enemies in the field, but only certain ones we need to kill. So like we only need to kill 3 of those 4 big guys that spawn first, and then 1 of the guys who spawns afterwards, in order to trigger that blue guy who bursts down the door to spawn and allow us to continue to the next section. Now, just like always, we're going to run past all these guys. These guys don't matter. We are going to, when we get to the store, pop our shield so these guys don't cause us any trouble. And we're going to keep on running. And by running, I mean rolling. Now, we got 2 guys who are going to spawn in that we need to kill as soon as possible in order to get to the next section. As soon as we kill that guy, these guys are going to burst down this door. And guess what? We got more running. I'm gonna roll past these enemies so that they don't grab us. As we continue our run, and we're going to pop our shield because there's a bunch of enemies in this section who will shoot at us. But we don't really have to worry about them, we just have to run past them as we make our way to our next power suit. Now again, there's a whole bunch of enemies here. We don't care about any of these guys. We only care about this big guy. And we're going to shoot his little power cells on top and on his back so that we can trigger the execute. And once we get our electricity, we are going to finally use our explosive ability to extend the range of our electricity to trigger that door to open. Usually you would need to use the aftertouch to hit that, or bounce it really specifically off the ceiling. By using the explosion, it makes it way easier and way more consistent, at least for me. And we get a fun new environmental puzzle here, where we're going to use our ice power to put out this fire so that we can run through here. Don't ask me how the ice puts out the fire. It's a video game. We're going to push this cart out of the way, and we've got a quick little jump scare up here from our boss of this section. This is the first time you see him. There he is! Now there is like a 1 in 100 chance that you can roll through that jump scare without actually triggering him, but I don't think we actually know how that happens, and I'm not able to replicate it in like any actual way, so we just kind of deal with the jump scare. We're gonna pick up some ammo, and we've got another fun little specific enemy section here. So there's 2 guys in this middle section, and only one of them is important. So thankfully I was able to take out both of them with 1 shot, because usually it's like a 50-50, and if you hit the wrong one, you then have to go looking for him again. Alright, and we're gonna keep running. We got a ton of soldiers here, and we're just gonna run through all of them. Sorry to say. They're not very good at their job. I say as I almost die. Alright, we are going to take out these 2 guys who are behind, because they can actually do some damage to us as we run into this next section, which is another specific enemy requirement. So we've got a bunch of enemies here. We got regular zombies, we got silver zombies. Our only targets are these silver zombies. We are going to take out those guys so they don't get in our way. But anytime a silver zombie spawns, we're going to do our best to take care of it as quickly as we can. Wow, I'm taking a lot of damage here, so I'm a little nervous, but I think we're going to be okay. Take out him. Take out this guy. Now eventually one of these enemies will cause a blue guy to spawn, there we go, behind this door and bust it open for us. Now we've got a pretty tricky choke point here. There's going to be a bunch of soldiers in front of us along with a power suit. And we're just going to do our best to run over here, turn around with our shield up, pop our shield again, and pick up some electricity. Oh, and I died. Alright. You know, I told you it was tricky. Those guys are relentless. So we're going to pick up our ammo again, and we're going to try it once more. We're going to run, we're going to turn around so that our shield is still facing the enemies that we need it to. Oh, I don't have the energy for the shield. That's a little sketchy. I think we'll be okay though. We're going to use our electricity to turn out this fire, and we're going to run and pray that they don't kill us. Perfect. Amazing. Alright. And we're going to use our ice powers to freeze this lake, which is another very cool environmental puzzle in Dark Sector. You do have to be a little bit careful with this lake because you can glitch kind of in between the lake and the floor, and if that happens, you just get stuck. You can't, you have to reset the checkpoint. So we get another fun bit of running here. And we're gonna run, and we're gonna run, and we're gonna run, and we're gonna dodge the train last minute. A little bit spooky. And we've got another kind of enemy arena gauntlet here with a whole bunch of enemies. Now these guys, there's a lot of them, and they spawn in a couple different spots. And it can be really difficult to keep track of. So we're going to do our best to stand right in the middle here so that we can kind of watch as best we can where they go so that we don't lose them. And we're just going to keep killing these silver guys. I got somebody behind me. We're going to keep killing these silver guys until the train whistle blows, which is when we will know that we are able to move forward. Now, I'm a little nervous because I don't have any shields left, so I have to be a little bit careful in this section to not have these guys kill me. So I'm going to roll, and I've got my shield back, so we're all good. And thank goodness. Those guys are very fun because, like I said, they can block your way out of there, and if they kill you, you have to do that whole fight over again. So we got our big boss here. As soon as he runs away, we're going to take out this guy, and taking out that guy quickly allows this blue guy to spawn here so that we can take him out as soon as we can. If you don't take out that guy on top fast enough, the blue guy will turn invisible and go somewhere on the map, and you have to wait until he shows up and tries to kill you before you can actually get him. Boy, we got a bunch more running here. We got a big crew over here who's going to try to shoot at us. We do have to take care of this guy because he is in our way. But then we're just going to keep on running. Alright, once we hit this checkpoint, we're going to reset the checkpoint so that I get full stamina so that I can continue my running. And this is another one of those arenas where there are a ton of enemies, but we don't care about any of them. The only ones we care about is this guy and his friend, who is spawned in for some reason, and this guy, who appears when we go around the corner. Those three are the only of like the 10 or 12 enemies in that section that you actually have to take care of for the door to open. as we make our way to our second main boss fight. Who is that big blue guy who we keep seeing? I'm gonna pick up some ammo. Now, just like before, this guy's got two phases. The first phase, he's gonna run around on the ground and go invisible, and eventually he's gonna show up and try to jump scare me. I'm gonna freeze him, and I'm gonna shoot him as much as I can, and then I'm gonna freeze him again. Now, there's a couple strats for this boss. You can either just try to get him to his second phase as quickly as you can, or you can actually, if you are very precise, just kill him in his first phase before he goes up here. So now that he is in his second phase, he's going to show up somewhere here and try to shoot us with rockets. Thankfully, we can deflect his rockets back at him and then execute him almost immediately. And that's the second boss. Now, we didn't see it, but during that cutscene, we learned a new ability, which is invisibility. So this is going to be our new bread and butter, along with our shield to avoid enemy damage and enemy detection. As we make our way into Chapter 8, which is our obligatory horror game hospital level. So we're going to make our way through this hospital with these big enemies and try to be invisible so that they don't bother us too much. There's a bunch of guys up here who love to block this doorway. Thankfully, they were very nice to me and ran out before I got there. A lot of times they don't run out, and then I just have to wait for them to, like, shuffle out of the way, which is a huge pain in the ass. We're gonna go invisible real quick just to run past all these guys. And continue on our merry way. Alright, so I think this is as good a time as any, because I forgot to do it earlier. Our shield and our invisibility have, like, quote-unquote ammo, or like energy that what's the word I'm looking for? It respawns, reloads, it re-ups over time. And the way that we see that is on my right shoulder, there are 3 lines. Now, this is back in an era where game developers thought that gamers were actually kind of smart, and guess what? I wasn't, because I had no idea about this until, like, this year. So we're going to keep on moving through this hospital. We've got a couple of these containment chambers to get through. They have lasers that go across them, and basically if you get hit by the laser, the doors will slam shut and the room fills with poison gas like you're seeing here. So we're going to try to just run through here real quick. And we've got a section full of enemies here, and we're going to try our best to avoid them. We're going to pick up this ice real quick, and we're going to turn around and try to freeze these guys to make sure that they don't follow us into this room. Because if they do, they can trigger the laser system and lock us in that room with them, which is super annoying. We're going to take out 2 of these blue guys and continue on our way. And pick up our fancy suit. Look at us, all fancy and shiny and silver. So this next room is another room where we've got a bunch of enemies and only a couple specific ones that we need to deal with. I've already lost the ones that I need to actually care about, which is troublesome. Hopefully they're these ones right behind me. So the ones you see when you first walk into the room are the ones you need to take care of. And then after that, you only need to take care of the ones, and I'm dead. Perfect, so let's try to do that a little better this time. So we gotta take out these enemies down here as quickly as we can. And then the only other ones we need to take care of are these ones that jump down from the balcony. So we got 2 down here. I'm gonna try to avoid the soldier, because he's trying to ruin our day. And that should be almost enough. Maybe there's one more that we need to take care of before one of our friends will open the door back here. Thank you kindly. Now, I do have an invisibility left, so that's perfect. I'm going to go invisible to avoid these turrets up here. And we've got just a little bit of an auto-scroller. So we're going to try to do our best to make sure none of the soldiers in this room notice us, and they are going to. And we're going to try to pick up this ammo as we wait for the... Alright. Fuck. Alright. That's alright. We're going to do it over again. Sometimes the soldiers will catch on to you, other times they're pretty oblivious to your presence. Unfortunately, that one was a little risky. So we're going to hide here, we're going to pick up this ammo actually this time, and we're going to keep a good eye on the soldiers this time as we wait for this elevator to come down. There we go. We're going to take out this guy because he doesn't like to exit the elevator. And that's the end of Chapter 8, the hospital level. So now we've got another big group of enemies that we need to take care of. In the next section, there are 15 soldiers. Luckily, they come in groups of 7 and then 8. Spawn in afterwards, so I don't have to count above 10, which is always lovely. So we're going to jump down here and open up this gate, and open up this gate, and we're going to take our position. So the first things first, we're going to chuck a grenade here to try to take out 3 or 4 of the ones that spawn over there, which saves us a lot of time and ammo. The other one we need to worry about is this guy over here, and this guy up here. And now, our next set of enemies are spawning in. We need to take care of 4 up top, and 4 on the bottom, using our shitty pistol. So that's 3. There's our 4th. And we're going to take out these 2 guys down here. We're going to try our best to take out these guys down here. And once I take out the 6th guy, I'm going to run up to the door, because when we kill our 8th person in this bridge, somebody's going to bust down that door, like always. Perfect. Now I'm going to turn invisible, because there's a bunch of enemies in this section that I just want to run through. And if I'm not careful, they will kill me over and over again. We are going to take out these 2 guys. They're not like super annoying or anything, but they will on occasion follow you into the next section, which if you're not prepared for it, can cause you a lot of troubles. And guess what? We've got another power suit. So we're going to real quick take out his power banks on top, and try to get him into the execution state so that we can get this electricity so that we can open the door and move forward. And now, you know, it's not a 2010s action game without a walking turret section. So we've got this big turret, and we're going to take out all of these enemies as quickly as possible without them really noticing that we're here. That's unfortunate. That was a little slow. That's fine. We got a couple guys up here, which are the last ones that we need to take care of. Gonna get those ones, and those ones, and this one, and they're gonna open this door down here. We're gonna fire one final rocket into this guy who's in this doorway, and we're gonna run past the rest of the enemies. I'm gonna turn invisible real quick to try to avoid this enemy aggro over here. Hopefully that guy didn't notice me, because if he does notice me, he will turn around and try to kill us before we open the door, and it's super annoying. Now we've got a bridge section, and we're just gonna roll past all of these enemies. Now, I don't know if I explained it quite well enough before, but all of these zombie enemies have a grab, and so we want to make sure that we... Are you just like in my way? Why can't I... Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck, alright. All of these enemies have a grab, and anytime we get grabbed, loses us like 5-ish seconds. Come on, please let me vault. There we go. Holy cow. That doesn't usually happen. That guy basically was stuck in front of the vault in a way that wouldn't let me get to it. It's always fun. Now, we've got a bunch more running to do through this whole arena while a million people are shooting at us as we make our way to our third boss fight. Now, a lot of the bosses so far we've seen a few times in game. They'll show up to do like a quick jump scare. This one has been showing up throughout the whole game, but only in cutscenes. So we've seen this like several times. This is the boss that actually gave us the... Oh, I fucked that. This is the boss that gave us the technocyte infection and kind of set up this whole thing. So what I was supposed to... Oh, nice. Alright. Well, what I'm supposed to do there is use the fire to burn down the black goo that's covering the ladder there so that we can move forward. So we're going to try it again, and hopefully it's going to work out a little bit better for us. We do have to take out those two guys hanging out in there to spawn these guys at the very end so I can pick up this fire. We're going to do our best to actually pick up the fire and do our whole thing. There we go. I'm going to turn invisible. That's unfortunate. This is not usually a tricky spot, but every once in a while. Alright. One more go. This is the one. So we're gonna get down here, we're gonna grab this fire. We're gonna explode our glaives to burn the bridge down, and I'm gonna go invisible immediately so that people don't actually shoot at me. There we go. There's a checkpoint at the top of this elevator, or ladder. So now we are safe. And we got a bunch more enemies, we're just gonna run through them on our way to the boss arena. Obviously, before the boss arena, we need to have another room, empty room, to just run through. We're gonna see that a couple more times. And we're into the boss fight. Now, this boss fight has a fun new strategy where I just bonk him in the head and that immediately sends him into his next phase. Previously, basically, we would do a little dance where he tries to hit me 5 times, and after the 5th time he fails to hit me, he will call down the lightning and move into the second phase. Like, literally just by accident, last week when I was prepping for the run, I hit him in the head without meaning to, and it immediately sent him into the second phase, which is huge, and saves like 40 to 50 seconds on this boss fight, which we would normally just need to be dancing around. So he's back down here, and we're going to bonk him in the head to make him angry, so he shoots his electricity at us. Again, Otherwise, we'd just be dancing around the arena here, waiting for him to finally get annoyed at us. And again, we're going to back ourselves into this corner. Usually he throws this kind of like at us and we have to pick it up. But if we stand right here, he throws it into his own platform and you can just toss it at him once. Alright, here's the final one. Gonna bonk him in the head. And that's the end of this boss fight. We get a fun cutscene here where we learn that that boss is actually our girlfriend, which is a fun little bit of lore, which we don't actually see because we skip all the cutscenes. Now we have a very fun jackal section, mech section, where we actually use the mech. It is technically possible to do this section without the mech, and it is like a little bit faster, but it is crazy risky. There are a ton of enemies in this area, and most of them have rocket launchers. So like, while it's possible, it's really not usually worth the risk, because every death is like a minute of time loss. So once we get through this gate here, somebody's going to spawn up there and try to get on the rocket turret, and now we're just going to very quickly take out the rest of the enemies in this area before scooting our way left so that we can open this next gate section. Now, just like the previous gate, once we get through this gate here, there's going to be enemies spawning up here on this cliffside who are going to try to get onto rocket turrets. And we're going to do our best to take them out as quickly as possible, even though they're crazy far away. We've got a group of enemies here that we're going to rocket blast and kill. And we've got another guy in a bird's nest up here, which we want to take out as well, because he's also on a rocket turret. I think I took him out. I can't actually see him. We got one final group here. Two I missed somehow. There we go. Now, we can actually die in this section in the mech if we get hit by too many rockets, so we want to make sure that we are actually using our countermeasures, because if you'll remember from the helicopter fights, these rockets have lock-ons, so the countermeasures will disrupt the lock-ons for the enemies also, which is like a really cool mechanic. So we're going to run through the rest of this area and into our final chapter. Chapter 10, The Dark Sector. Holy crap, they said the thing. It's the name of the game. So to our right here, we've got a cutscene trigger, so we're going to ignore that and go to the left so that we can save a couple of seconds. And this level is not super exciting. I think the devs probably ran out of ideas by this point. So moving forward, we've got to press this button over here to open this big door, and then we've got a 1-minute auto scroller, and then we've got a bunch of empty hallways to run through. So we're going to climb back down this ladder. Can I get a count on how many times I've called a ladder like an elevator or something in this run? It's crazy. Alright, and we're going to run down this hallway. Now, at the end of this hallway is a actual elevator that we need to call. And the elevator takes 1 minute to reach us, and in that time we need to do our best to just not get killed. So we're going to call in the elevator after hiding from our enemies here. And we're going to run all the way to the back of the arena to try to do our best to manage our blue friends here, because they do a very good job at swarming you. And so hanging out at the back of the arena just kind of limits the ways that they can come at you. And like, jump on you. Alright, let me double check. We split at 5:11, so we need to wait for 6:11. So once our timer has like 10 seconds in it, I'm going to run towards the elevator, and hopefully we will make it there right as it is opening. Well, it's already open, but that's perfect for us. Alright, how's everybody doing? We are almost at the end of this long-ass run. We're honestly making pretty good time. We're only like 2 minutes ahead of world record pace, which, like, for an hour-long run, hard to complain about. Now, like I said, we just got a bunch of empty hallways to run through. On the left side of that room is a door that's locked, and we have to run down this long-ass hallway to press a button so that we can run back down that long-ass hallway and go through the door. Locked in, hell yeah. I'm gonna press the button, and we're gonna run back down the hallway. Alright, we got a quick cutscene here. We're gonna skip, and guess what? There's more hallways to run down. And we got another room. Just a big ol' empty room for us to run through. As we make our way to our final boss fight and the end of the game. And we got a fun load screen here. It makes you think we're getting into the boss fight. Just kidding. It's another big empty room. But once we cross this threshold, we are into the final boss fight. So time will be ending soon. We've got 3 rounds of taking out these tentacles. So we're going to shoot them in the shiny bits to make them open, and then we're going to electrocute their buttholes. 1, 2, 3. And that causes this guy to open up his little cocoon, and we're going to hit him. And that's the boss fight. We're going to do that 2 more times. There's round 2. We'll shoot our big friend, and this is our final round. We got 5 tentacles this time. Whoop. Shoot him in the shiny bits. And electrocute them in the butthole. Alright, here is our... Oh. Here is our final tentacle. Once we hit this, we will have 1 final shot on our boss guy, and on the final hit, that is when time ends. So, 3, 2, 1... The fuck? 1! There we go! And that's Dark Sector any %. Thank you so much, everybody. I hope that you enjoyed, and I hope you pick up this game, because it's annoying, but pretty fun.
Sorry. I think a lot of people underestimate how hard it is to do like an hour-and-a-half run and commentate over the entire thing. So you did an amazing job.
Thank you.
Absolutely amazing. All right, if there's any last shout-outs or anything you want to do, this is your time.
Sure. Shout out to Hominage, who is the previous world record holder, who did pretty much all of the routing for this any % route. And shout out to IHS for always giving folks a space to do their runs and for letting me run in this marathon. I love you guys.
Hell yeah, we love you too. We love you too. All right. So next we have I Eat Zombies with Payday 2. So stick around for that.
Please strike me thunder. Let me get closer to the light. Please strike me thunder. So I can be free. So I've come to the conclusion I'm just one man amongst thousands. In this world, I'll allow them shout. They'll do fine without me. The chemicals in my head don't work as yours. 'Cause every piece of life is a little bit of happiness. Every kind of love causes a little bit less regret. Please strike me thunder. Let me get closer to that light. Let me go under the water till I can breathe free. Let me go up. 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 I'll be a superhero. I'll be a superhero.
I never wanna hold you back. I wanna give you every chance to make it, to make it. I'm afraid if our love collides, you'll leave me alone tonight. 'Cause I'm changing and I'm breaking. Is this over? I'm scared to ask these questions 'cause I know that you'll reject my love. Moving slower, frozen to these pieces without a shoulder to cry on. And I'll stand against all